What's up, jabronis? Welcome back to Implication Productions. As we kicked off this season review series with season 1 last time, we did season 16 before, but now it's only right we are back today to discuss the second season of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So season 2 ups the episode count to 10 from season 1's 7. This is gonna be the most common length for the seasons going forward, but they are still gonna vary in episode counts. But for today we got 10 episodes and I'm gonna talk about them all in order from worst to best in my opinion. Starting with the worst episode of season 2.
Yeah, that is bullshit. We don't even have one.
What are you talking about? You have a father?
Yeah, but he's in prison, Charlie, and he's been there my whole life. It doesn't count.
That does count. I never met my father, so
Well,
take it easy, all right? This guy's not our dad.
I don't know. This is really freaking me out.
Look, Dee, this guy can't be our dad. That's ridiculous.
Is it? Is it any more ridiculous than our dad having brown eyes, black hair, and being 4'10"?
Bruce Mathis sucks. The actor for sure does, but his character just isn't fun either. Like, he shows up in this episode just to be the best person ever, which definitely is ruined by him being like the worst person ever in real life, but he just sucks. And it's not helped by the fact that Barbara is despicable as well. I like seeing the gang just being despicable in front of normal people, but this just ain't fun to watch. Now, there are good things here. Mac and Charlie trying to be tough is pretty entertaining, and the scene of them running up on Bruce is hilarious. Just wish they actually went through with it. I also like the scene at Gugino's. Frank freaking out is fantastic, but everything with that plot after that isn't very good to me.
You gotta be. You don't know shit about the Constitution, man.
He knows more than you two un-American freedom haters.
Thank you.
Oh, we hate Charlie. We hate freedom.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we hate it.
Hate
we
it.
find it.
Hate
Oh,
freedom.
I'm un-American?
You're practically a Viet Cong.
Oh, is that right? Okay, you want to talk America? You want to learn a little something about America? Dee, let's roll out of here.
Where are we going?
We're gonna go America all over their asses!
While I do like when Charlie and Dee pair up, at least before Time's Up for the gang.
I got molested by Dee!
What? What? Oh, that's ludicrous.
No, it's true. Like, a couple years ago, she banged me and I didn't want to do it.
I feel like this is one of their weakest team-ups. Like, except for the Finding Your Breath scene and the iconic Rock Flying Eagle song, I don't take away much from that plot. And the other plot isn't all that either, in my opinion. The rest of the gang wanting to turn Paddy's into a crazy anything goes bar is an interesting concept, and there are some good jokes. The McPoyles are great here, and Frank's whole thing with the gambling thing is hilarious, but it's just like not as funny as most other plots this season. I think it's a big step up from the episode with the Diddler, but it's definitely one of the weakest of the season for me.
Look, the head and the arms and the cape.
look like it.
I don't see it.
Yeah, hey, what if it's a sign? You guys remember, I wanted to be a priest.
That's a water stain.
Or
a
it
pipe
could
leak.
be a sign that we need to get our pipes
Like,
fixed.
what if it's a miracle?
No,
it's a miracle.
miracle.
Well, listen. It could be a miracle. It could be bullshit. There's only one thing we know for sure.
What's that?
It's a goddamn gold mine.
This one has some hilarious stuff in it. Charlie and Mac's plot is great, and Charlie in general is just really entertaining in this one. I'm not crazy about the rest of the episode though. It's Cricket's first episode, and while he is a goated character, his plot is not as funny as his future ones. I just think this plot with Dee is just very mean to Cricket, and while yeah, that's his whole joke, it doesn't have enough jokes to back it up for me. It just feels sad. Like, it's important for his character arc in the show, but I wouldn't come back to this episode for anything other than Mac and Charlie. Or I guess Dennis starving himself is kinda funny, and Frank... Yo, Frank is in this episode? Does he do anything except like take a little money in like one scene? All in all, this one is alright, but there are way better in the season.
Oh, can you pull trucks through snow?
I absolutely
You can barely walk in the snow, Charlie.
Well, that's true.
All right, time out. Is the truck in park or neutral?
Oh, that's a good question.
What's
Empty your pockets. Now.
Okay. Hey, let's just all stay calm. Oh, ow,
Nice friends.
From here on out, I'll say there are no weak plots. This one has two funny ones, starting with the underground fighting ring. Mac and Dennis training Charlie is so funny, and then hitting him with everything gets me laughing every time, especially when they enter his apartment.
Open the door! Surprise, bitch!
Then Frank training Dee is also really funny, my favorite scene probably being his terrible workout advice. But it's when the two plots connect that it truly gets good. Charlie and Dee in the bar roided up is hilarious. Once again, the only reason this episode is not higher up is just because there are better in the season.
Are you really leaving?
Yes! Later, bitches!
Yeah, have a good life now.
All right, look, I know what you're doing. I could play this game. Mac and me and Charlie can run the bar.
Great.
Great.
Terrific, that's a good idea.
We got better things to do.
Please, what are you two gonna do? Dee and I have a little something we like to call goals, okay? With
weird, right?
aspirations outside of this bar.
We got big dreams, Mac. We're gonna go follow them.
You guys have nothing without this bar. Don't worry about us, Mac. We'll be just fine.
This one feels so nostalgic for me, for some reason. It has some iconic moments, one of them of course being
Oh, I'm sorry! Did you get addicted to crack? Did somebody get addicted to crack?
The whole plot with Dennis and Dee getting addicted is really funny, and they both do a great job acting. Then Mac and Charlie stealing Frank's money to go get strippers and a limo is also great. I especially love them running off. This episode is definitely gonna be top 3 on other people's lists, or at least some. I don't really know how, because there aren't really a lot of like Sonny review content on YouTube and stuff, so I don't really know if this is an unpopular opinion, but this one isn't top 5 for me just because there are, once again, 5 funnier episodes in the season, in my opinion.
You just get in the car.
get in the car.
No, it sucks for me because you guys get all the girls and the attention. My dad's gonna be here in a second. You just get in the car. No, I'm going home. I'm going home.
Can we go?
Yeah, we
Please.
can go. We can go.
Dennis!
Oh, Jesus! Dennis! No! Dennis, you son of a bitch!
The premiere of the season and a great start to the new era of Sonny. This episode is the first episode where Dee really gets in on the antics, and it's fun to see her as low as the rest of the gang, with all 5 of them pretending to be handicapped. Honestly, I can't even choose a favorite plot here, because they're all doing hilarious stuff. Mac and Dennis racing around the mall in wheelchairs and then just starting to beat up each other as Dee and the actual handicapped guy is watching is comedy gold. And Frank and Charlie competing for strippers while both also being in wheelchairs with Charlie's whole Vietnam stick is also hilarious. I love how everything comes together at the end as well. And I just realized I said all 5 of them are pretending to be handicapped when Charlie literally got run over at the part, like at the beginning of the episode. Oh, my bad.
So I'm really sorry about this. I know it's probably a tough time for you. Divorce is a tricky thing. Oh, I found it! I got the hair now! Found the hair, so I guess I'll just see myself out. Right, thank you for the hair. Oh, shit.
This is one of the best Charlie schemes of the whole show, and one of the best episodes of the season. Just watching his plan unfold as the gang all basically just tries to smash each other's parents is amazing. The ending is so sad, and you feel really bad for Charlie, because it really seemed like he had all the puzzle pieces right there, but of course we instead get another member of the gang that the waitress sleeps with that's not Charlie. Charlie in general is just hilarious here, and even though I don't like Barbara, her little thing with Mac is also hilarious. This is the first appearance of Miss Mac as well. Mrs. Mac? Miss Mac? Mrs.? She's gonna be like one of the most important and simultaneously unimportant characters of the whole show going forward.
It's just some jerk getting into office so he can get out for the payday.
Right, the guy's running for office. He's what payday?
I see it every year. I mean, some clown runs for office, drops out of the race, and gets a big chunk of dough. I mean, You have to be a real low-life piece of shit to get involved in politics.
This one is so underrated. It's like one of the funniest episodes of Early Sunny and the lowest rated of the season on IMDb. Explain to me how the Diddler episode is better than this one. Nah, but seriously, there are so many laugh out loud moments. The ass blasting, Hillary Clinton, the mall scene, the speech, Charlie with his shoe, and add to that the intrigue. Like, this is one of those episodes where everyone is working against each other. Like, the scheming is at an all-time high and I love it. The two nerds that Mac tried to solicit the bribe from are also hilarious. There's just nothing bad here.
What are you saying?
Okay, I don't
You're
even.
making
I don't
things
know
up
what that
now.
means. Does anybody know what that? Okay,
No.
if you're talking shit about America, man, we're gonna kick your ass.
I'm sure you will.
This is our bar.
Your bar is on my land. Goodbye, gentlemen.
What are we gonna do?
I love this episode. For a time, it was like one of my favorites of the whole show, and while I now have a bunch of episodes above, I still think it's great. Now, I do still dislike Barbara and her lover in this episode, so it's just fun seeing the gang work against them in their totally outrageous ways. Frank and Dee stealing the dog with Frank's little go get the dog thing is fantastic, but the guys here have one of the best plots of the entire show. The Jihad tape is to me just comedy perfection. Every line in this scene here had me laughing, like every scene can get me laughing, at least the first time watching. It's just genius writing. Their whole very uneducated Jewish Israel debate is funny as well, Free Palestine.
You know, I would rather pay a huge fine than have to give back to the community.
Holy shit, look at this bill.
What?
Those mimosas were like $8 a pop, Charlie.
Are you serious?
Well, you had like 7 of them.
Good.
Bro, I'm not paying for your
No way,
mimosas.
I didn't even bring
I don't
enough
have
money
enough
for
money.
I don't have any money. What are you guys, are you serious?
It's only right to have this and the last episode back to back since they are connected, with the gang facing the consequences of their actions in The Gang Goes Jihad here. The gang having to coach 2 kid basketball teams might be one of the best ideas in the show, just because they just had so much great stuff to deliver. The gang picking their teams, Mac playing against Dee, Frank coming in to ruin everything with his gambling, it's all laugh out loud stuff. And then you get to the actual game. Top 3 scenes of the whole show, easily. I burst out laughing every time I see Charlie as the ref, just interrupting shots and then throwing the ball at the rim with all his power. My only gripe with this episode is that it's not the 3rd episode of the season, since that would have made a nice little continuity storyline, since the gang has their bandages from Charlie gets crippled in The Gang Goes Jihad. But as it is, The Gang Gives Back is easily my favorite episode of Season 2. Season 2 is a big step up from Season 1, like we are taking big steps. Nearly every episode of this season is better than most Season 1 episodes, and the episodes are just way funnier in general. Now, they still haven't peaked yet, but they are heading in the precise right direction. And I think a person we can attribute a lot of that to is Danny DeVito. Him joining this show as Frank was exactly what the show needed. I'm not crazy about family characters in sitcoms, I'm not even that crazy about like the parents in this show, but Frank is just Frank. Danny DeVito's charisma makes Frank feel right at home with the gang from the start. Now, a lot of people say that they haven't quite found their footing with Frank in Season 2, which I do get since he hasn't quite become the trash man yet, but like they have not really found their footing with all the other characters either. Frank to me is hilarious from the get-go and it's only gonna get better. Dee in Season 2 is much funnier than Season 1, mainly just because how now she is not only put in the role to react to the gang's antics, don't get me wrong, she still does that and it's great, but she also gets to, you know, do stuff. Dee gets to actually have her own plots in Season 2 with her boxing thing in $100 Baby and her fake dating Cricket in The Gang Explodes a Miracle. And while these plots are certainly not my favorites of the season, she is still funny, and a big step up from season 1 where she was a lot more dull. She still hasn't quite gotten on the level of the rest of the gang, but she'll get there. Charlie hasn't changed much from his season 1 self. The only change is probably that his illiteracy has started to show, after getting hit in the head repeatedly early on in the season. But he once again gets a lot of stuff to do in the season, although he doesn't have as much plot centered around him, which is honestly a good thing. I love Charlie, but he is in his best, at his best in my opinion, when paired up with other characters, especially Mac and Dennis, like in The Gang Goes Jihad. With how much they'll use that trio in future episodes, it's a bit weird to see how many other dynamics used in this season. Dennis in season 2 is seen more with his sister Dee than Charlie and Mac, and that is unusual. He does have great chemistry with them in The Gang Runs for Office, which does show his more narcissistic side, as well as him just starving himself in The Gang Exploits a Miracle just because Dee said his face looked fat. Dennis, just like Dee, has started to show signs of the character he's going to be, but he still is more normal compared to Mac, for example. Mac is still a menace. He is just a terrible person with no morals, still. He is basically solely responsible for a lot of injured kids in The Gang Gives Back, and he in general does the worst stuff out of the gang, although not to the same extent as season 1. I do feel like the gang are starting to get on the same level, which is where they, in my opinion, excel. As a whole, it's a good season, and one I come back to infinite times more than season 1. I still don't think it's the peak of the show, not even close, but nearly all the episodes are really enjoyable. And they are only gonna start to get better, as we next time take a look at season 3, so I'll see you there.
It's done, guys. Goodbye, Patty's Pub. Goodbye, Philadelphia. Goodbye, Charlie. Mac, Dee, Frank. The bar is done.